or it was a 4:25 p.m. game, right?
Yeah.
East Coast time. The Buffalo Bills visit Kansas City. Kansas City hosts the Buffalo Bills. The score 2017. These teams, every time they play, there's such a close game, and there's always something that happens that's epic to
There's
remember.
always something.
Now, Solomon got something to tell his grandkids that's not 13 second, and you got a lot of things to tell your grandkids.
Yes, dude. Why you gotta bring up 13 seconds again?
Because that's something that's part of the history between you two, man, and that's a big moment.
You're right.
The
You're right.
part that probably might destroy Josh Allen ever chance to make it to the Super Bowl with the Bills. Who knows, right? That was a big 13 second. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, maybe.
usually, man, your wife or girlfriend might break up with you if you only had 13 second in you, but this one is one of the epic one. But
You know what? Actually, I want to hear from him, being a Kansas City fan, like what he thinks before I give my opinion.
all right, you may take me through the game, man.
Well, I feel like I'm gonna be like a broken record because Musa, we had this conversation last week when you wanted me to talk about the Packers game, and I'm like, before I blink, we were down 14-0, and that's exactly how it was in this game. But then our defense tightens up and does what it should do and usually
Right.
does, and only gives up 16, 17 points a game. Now that being said, I'm just gonna fast forward right to the fourth quarter. That play where Josh Allen was kind of like retreating out of bounds, kind of just threw it up to Latavius Murray.
Hmm.
Solomon, was that a catch?
I think I think it was a catch. Only
What's your
because I think the only reason I think there was a game maybe last week, maybe the Kansas City Green Bay game, where I forgot what player. He caught the ball and he took a couple steps and he fumbled. I think the rule as a catch. So I think it was a catch. You don't think it was a catch?
I think if they ruled it a catch, so it was a catch. I feel like if they on the field, if they would have ruled that incomplete pass,
It would have stayed like
it would
that.
have stayed incomplete because it
Probably,
was
yeah.
he caught it like yeah he took 3 steps,
He took three
but
steps and the boss
I just felt like he didn't have
control.
total control of the ball because when he caught it as he was bringing it in, I think he was trying to put it in his right arm and it kind of moved a little bit and that
Hmm.
caused it to just fall right out of his arms.
Yeah,
So I was a little indifferent about it. Like I can see why they called it a catch, but then I look
yeah.
at it from other angles and I'm like, I don't know if that's a catch. That was a tough call to put on the
Yeah,
refs.
I think that's a tough call for the referees because if they didn't call it a catch, then I'm sure Bills fans would be complaining about it. That one, either way, I mean, a lot of people be complaining about the officials. I mean, either way, they make bad calls throughout the season. Yesterday wasn't the only game they make questionable calls. Every game, there's always something going on, and people always say there's certain calls you can call in the beginning of the game and you shouldn't call at the end of the game. I don't know how I feel about that. If it's the rule, it's the rule. It shouldn't matter at what part of the game. You should call it all the time. So
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that.
So overall, like, what do you think about the Kansas City Chief performance, especially going throughout the game? Because we all know the first half, it looks like they were still trying to figure things out. I mean, when I watch you guys play this season compared to many seasons, Patrick Mahomes has to do a lot, and especially on the offense, like your defense, like you say, is solid, but the offense, man, what can y'all do different moving forward from your point of view, Ange?
Catch the ball.
Catch the ball,
That
catch the
right.
ball, and line up right. Honestly, there's a lot of plays. Like we just need one more receiver to just play average. That's all you don't even gotta play great. Play average.
Do
You
you
got
think do you think you have a number one receiver right now or no? Or it's a bunch of twos and threes.
Rasheed Rice is our number two. I'm not gonna put him at number one, even though he plays like a number one receiver. He gets
Right.
targets like a number one. He's still raw. He's still got some growing to do. He's a really good number two. Everybody else are like fucking 4, 5, 6. I swear to God.
It's a
Like,
4, 5, 6.
yes, MVS probably has played, I don't know, 80% of the snaps this year on offense. He's got 19 catches on the year. 19 catches. He's probably got 19 drops too. But
Right.
he's got 19 catches on the year. Sky Moore had one target all fucking game yesterday. He don't.
You guys do miss Tyreek Hill, though. You gotta admit, without Tyreek Hill, that offense is different.
No,
No,
we won the Super Bowl last year, so I kind of put that to
That's
bed.
now that's the problem I think that Kansas City is facing because of the Super Bowl. So this year, these receivers got high expectation. Everybody's paying attention to the receivers because I think personally, like of course y'all play against us in the Super Bowl. You guys were the better team. That's how y'all won the game. There's no doubt about that, you know. But because of what happened last year's Super Bowl, my man got issues. But I think what
okay,
hopefully get back up.
just
But so
continue.
I think that what happened last year's Super Bowl. Yeah, I was just we were just continue. I think what happened last year's Super Bowl. You all right?
We good?
Okay.
You got an echo coming out or something.
It's like you got an echo coming out from your phone. Yeah, but I think because of last year's Super Bowl, there's more expectation on your wide receivers this year than it was last year. So all these things probably was still happening, but it wasn't like, okay, we don't have no pressure on us. We don't have too much expectation for us to be these replacements of Tyreek Hill. And y'all did want a Super Bowl. Y'all want a Super Bowl for the moment. But I do think that they're getting rid of or letting Tyreek leave and not having the backup or the replacement is actually hurting you guys. And you guys did have Juju Smith last year. So that's
Right,
also like
I
a
was
big
just gonna say that when we had Tyreek, we had somebody like a Sammy Watkins that can work the
right.
middle of the field, play the slot. Last year, Travis Kelsey, Travis Kelsey's hurt this year. He's got a knee injury that I don't think is fully healed. He's kind of just continuing to work through the season,
Right.
but he's still putting up fucking. He's at 900 yards,
yeah, he's good.
896 right now, but we have Rashee Rice, who kind of gives me that, like we talked about last week, Musa. Rashee Rice gives me that Sammy Watkins vibe where he can play the slot, he catches
Right,
the ball, he's explosive. But we don't have somebody else that can take the pressure off of Rashee Rice. That way, he's not getting double covered. But teams are like, if it's not Kelsey, it's Rice.
right,
Okay, well, if it wasn't Kelsey, then if it wasn't Rice, who we scared of? Sky Moore, MVS, Justin Watson?
right.
No, we're not scared of nobody. They're not scared of anybody at all. Somebody's got to step up, and I'm at the point where nobody is going to step up the rest of the year. That's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, but
It's
also remember, you guys were missing your number one running back.
nah,
No,
no.
you would not made a difference.
He was there last week, and they still dropping balls. He was there against the Eagles, and MVS still dropped the ball. And Pacheco had, I forgot how much he had against the Eagles, but he was playing very well. And then he had over 100 last week against the Packers. Tell me how that worked out. You're still dropping balls. You're still getting pass interference down. Not like an MVS was going to catch it anyway, but
Right.
they're dropping the most simple passes, just little out routes, little 4-yard flares to get out of bounds,
Right.
and it hit your pads. Like, catch the fucking ball. That's your
Right.
job.
All right. So talking about that, I heard on the radio today that really Patrick Mahomes was not really mad at the officials. He's mostly mad at his wide receivers, but he can't really tell them because he's a great teammate. So he just venting his frustrations on the officials. Do you think if he wasn't happy with his wide receiver, he wouldn't tell them? He would just take the blame?
He would take the blame. I don't think he would do it publicly. I think he
Right.
would take them aside in the locker room or wherever the hell they want to take it.
Why do you think he's doing that?
I mean, like you already taking the blame. Remember, I think it was the game against us or some when he says that, oh, maybe I should have thrown the ball a little lower. Or something like he said that, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
as a
yeah.
leader, this is the thing, okay? This is one of the things I respect about Patrick Mahomes, why I call him a great. Remember a few years ago, I told you he was already Hall of Fame. Then you told me as a Chief fan, not yet. Remember?
Yeah.
I love this guy, man, because he got the attitude of a winner. You could tell the attitude of a winner. You know what I'm saying? The way he played, the way everything else. But there's a question to you, man. Do you think that you guys actually depend on him so much? Even though it doesn't have when Tariq leaves, yes, everybody said, nah, that's okay because we got him at home. We got him at home. Do you think that's what's affecting you guys right now? The just to give him so much. I mean, we know he's great, but every great player also need help. Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, everybody has help. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? But do you think because he's that great, that's why you guys didn't target most receivers in the draft for free agency?
Yeah, 1,000%. I feel like it's like, all right, Mahomes, you know what to do. Go out there. You can just kind of just pick apart. You don't got to play hero ball. You don't got to throw it down. You just play kind of not game manage, but just matriculate down the field. But these wide receivers are incompetent of running a decent route. I just feel like these receivers, they don't know the concept of timing matters in the NFL. Like if you have a play and you're running a 10-yard in, you got about 3 to 4 seconds to make your cut, and the ball's gonna be there. Don't flatten your route. Don't round it off. Run the route, and that's not happening. They're just they're rounding it off. They're not running hard. They're not cutting right. Like nothing about it outside of Kelsey and Rice
I mean, but
is.
these are professionals. You don't think they know what they're doing? There must be something else going on.
I can't tell.
Right.
I can't tell.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but before we get to the last question about the Kansas City's part, man, Solomon, you the winning team, man. How did your team go? Tell me about what do you think about Josh Allen's performance? You know, there's three things that's guaranteed in the United States of
I
America,
told you
especially
that.
even in
Yep.
Western New York. So
He gotta throw one interception. It's a
that's
must.
that's 9 straight game.
It's a
Josh
must.
Allen that throw interception. And do I think you guys offensively got a better weapons besides Kelsey? Of course, like he just said, Kelsey's injured. You guys got a number one wide receiver that everybody in the league wish they could have, even though they do got some. But do you think that you guys actually play to the standard that you
Yesterday,
guys should?
like yesterday's game.
Yesterday's game, yes.
No, I don't think we played our best game. I think part of the reason is the respect that they have for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Bills have they have too much respect for Patrick Mahomes that
We
even
all
when
do.
after they went up by 14, I was still nervous. I'm like, there's too much time left. Being up by 14, and when we're up by 14, that's when Josh Allen threw that interception. What happened? It was 14-7 before you know it. But I think the game plan was good. Normally we start really slow, but for some reason yesterday we started fast. Unfortunately for us, Kansas City, they seem to start slow recently. They started slow last week in Green Bay. They started slow yesterday. And because they're not the same juggernaut they used to be where they can score 30, 40 points, it's so hard for them. Once they go down, it's so hard for them to come back. So we got lucky in that respect. Uh, but I was still scared, man. It's not easy to play going to Kansas City to win the game. No matter
No.
how bad the receivers are. I know you're saying the receivers are bad, but they still have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. It's still a tough place to play. And I was glad our defense really stepped up. They played really well. I just didn't like our coaching staff in the second half. I think Andy Reid made some adjustments, and we never made adjustments. That's one thing about I would say I don't like about our coaching staff, but it seems like it's so hard for them to make in-game adjustments when other teams are making adjustments. We're lucky that we scored a quick 14 points. If we didn't do that, we'd have been in big trouble.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that the Kansas City defense in second half says that we got like they step up. They really did great,
They
especially
did.
from. I mean, like you said, the interception probably changed the whole game around.
Right.
And there's no point in that game that I really think that I was like, okay, the Bills gonna lose this game. The Bills are gonna do what Bills do. They're gonna do the Bills thing.
There was
They're
no
gonna
point you feel like that?
like like I'm talking about like in the fourth quarter, like in the fourth quarter, I'm looking at it like, yo, Kansas City might pull this off,
That's what I was thinking
especially
too.
yeah. And when the game is tied, the Kansas City defense get the ball back, and Patrick Mahomes then went 3 and out. I was like, damn, that might be the chance here. But there was a call. the holding call and Kansas City that got you guys the field goal.
Right.
Right. And then that call, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna say much because that's almost the same thing that happened to us in the Super Bowl with that call, Angie.
I mean that. I
And when I
mean
went against,
that
I
was a
don't think
right
that
call.
was a hold. I don't think that was the right call at that moment, though.
Like you
I really don't.
at that why at that moment. You can you
So
can call it any other time, not that moment though.
when you watch soccer, I'm always gonna bring the soccer in as well, you know what I'm saying? Because like there's some fouls in the box, right? If it happened anywhere else in the field, they're not gonna call that. I mean, like
I
there's some fouls in the box they don't call, but if it happened anywhere else in the field, they're gonna call.
I
But
think
at that moment when you're going down, right? Because that's what gets you guys in the field goal to go up 3 points.
right.
Yeah. So I feel like that flag and what Patrick Mahomes was saying about this whole situation ahead that happened. Now, Angie, I'm gonna need your take on this right here.
Mm-hmm.
This right here. Now, you remember last week what Patrick Mahomes was saying? There was a holding call that actually happened against Green Bay that they didn't
In
throw
Green
the
Bay, they
flag
didn't call. Yeah,
and they swallow it. That's what he was more upset on. Said that the same thing could have happened here.
that's what I think.
That's the same way I was arguing with guys on Facebook and all that. I was like, you guys, like, I had to call a few people out. He has right to be upset. He has right to be frustrated. Whether he's his teammate, whether it's the call, whatnot. But Patrick Mahomes has every right to be frustrated because
It is true.
he
But
comes in weekend.
I think he should have been more frustrated last week in Green Bay because the officials they missed 2 clear fouls in Green Bay. Then he should have been really frustrated, but he didn't seem to say too much after that game. So I think that frustration just came into the next week. So every single call, whether it was bad or not, it just got him even more frustrated. I think throughout the whole season, all the frustration that's been building up, it just came out yesterday. Yeah, he was frustrated with the officials. He was frustrated with it. I saw at one point on the bench they were arguing. I don't know between who and who, but
Chris
there was
Jones.
who
Let
was
me
it?
explain that. What you think the argument was about? I think it was Chris Jones that was arguing, right? That's his name.
Yeah, it was Chris Jones.
What was
There
the deal on the
was
bench?
there was I forgot the call. I want to say it was a whole. I forgot the call, but Chris Jones was just pissed off at the ref.
No, but
And,
I'm talking about on the sideline.
maybe our D line coach called Chris Jones out, and they kind of just had a couple words. But I feel like that's healthy to have coaches call out the players, even if the player's in the wrong, and he thinks he's in the right. Let the coach be like, "Hey, man, you were wrong," and he's still heated. Like, no, I was lined up here and this and that. Like, no, you need to line up here. You need to do your job. This, that, and the third. It's healthy to have a couple blowups on the sideline.
I guess so.
That just means you care about the game. That's it. And
Why?
the thing with Mahomes, like, I don't think it was at Tony. He wanted that ref's head. A lot of people were upset. The problem that I had yesterday, I was watching a couple of the press conferences, is that the first things that were coming out these players' mouths were refs.
Right.
How about you don't get to that point?
Right.
At least have a little bit of accountability.
Right.
I didn't see any, and that pissed me off. Like, don't use the refs as an out. And like Tony, he did point to the ref, and that's the part that pissed me off, is that you see in the video, soon as when he was walking up to the line, right as he's about to get set, he points to the ref.
But a lot of people saying that he didn't point. Even
Did the ref respond to him?
I got a clear video from the field view, from the sideline view, that clearly shows him pointing, looks right at the ref.
Yeah, but what did the ref say? Did the ref respond?
He shook his head, like, just like, yeah.
So he shook his head and then he threw the flag.
Yes.
Why? That's not correct. That's not right if he did that.
Wow, I didn't even know that, because like even this morning when I'm listening to all these so-called analyzers, they wasn't talking about that. All they was talking about is Tony's job to point to the referee to do all this. So yes, he was upside. Yes, he was like
right. One thing I heard is that if he was lined up near the referee, they say it would have been easier for them to communicate. But he wasn't near the referee; he was towards the middle. So they say the referee won't be screaming for you to tell you are too far ahead at that point. But if you're right next to him, they say they like to tell you. So, I mean, he should have known better.